fast. Please go fast. 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 No! Let's go.
But that's alright.
Oh my god! Yo guys, what is up? Mox here in our Borderlands 3 video, and today we are looking at updated Mayhem 10 Fire Hose Moze. Now, Fire Hose Moze was prior in Mayhem 4 my best Moze build, and I wanted it to still be my best Mayhem 10 Moze build, and I'm happy to say that it is. This build is so strong. We spent a lot of time tweaking and making adjustments, and I'm here to present it to you guys today. Now, real quick before we get into the video, guys, if you are enjoying the content, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out so much, and we're on the road to 100k subscribers, which is crazy. Guys, with that, let's get right into the video. So, showing on screen for y'all right now is the updated skill tree for Mayhem 10 Fire Hose Moze. There may be some small adjustments and tweaks that you may need to make to your skill tree, depending on the weapon you're using or the class mod you're using. So be sure to hear me out on the reasoning for my skill points and how I made it work for me. Now, real quick, let's talk about the weapons of this build. The main weapons that we're using are Chaosins, Backburners, and Plague Bears. These are the strongest weapons on this build. However, this build works with basically any weapon that you want to use because we are a double capstone blue-green tree build where you're going to have unlimited ammo, crazy amounts of fire rate, crazy amounts of splash damage. So any gun works very well, but however, these are the best ones for this build. Now, you guys know the Chaosin. I've used it in other builds. For this build, you are going to want a non-2x Chaosin and a 25 magazine size one. Now, I know that sounds a little weird, a little bit specific, but we're using the Blastmaster class mod. The Blastmaster class mod gives us more splash damage, up to 100% increased splash damage the longer we go without reloading. Now, the ×2 Chaosins are going to shred through your magazine size very, very quickly, and I had to reload all the time with it, and so in testing, 25 magazine size is good. It's about the perfect balance. It's right in between the 32 and the 18, and I was able to sustain ammo and basically never reload with my 25 mag one versus my 18 one I did. Now, the best anointments for the KOs in here are going to be consecutive hits and 125 incendiary from Iron Bear. These are the best anointments for the KOs. And now, the Chaosin is super strong and is replacing the Kibsworth in this build. If you guys remember, Fire Hose Moze originally was a Kibsworth build. Now, the Kibsworth still is very strong. I do have a Mayhem 10 160 splash one, and in comparison, the Kibsworth just pales. Now, when the game gets updated and the scaling gets dropped, the Kibsworth may be the king again, but however, right now, it's just not even close, and there's no reason really to use it, and the Chaosin's easier to get. So we're using the Chaosin. The two rocket launchers that we're using now, Fire Hose Moze originally I made for it to not be a rocket launcher build, but these two rocket launchers are too strong not to use and are incredible bossing weapons, incredible takedown weapons. Now, the Plague Bear is basically the Scourge rocket launcher. You can get it from Agonizer and has a slow charge up time and does a big spiral. It will blow up basically any enemies in its path. This is a great weapon for clearing the takedown, for one-shotting bosses. You can clear the whole takedown bridge with this thing. Now, the Backburner is a crazy strong rocket launcher, currently bugged on console, but with the Plague Bear, if you get it in the right spot, you're going to hit a shot. It's got a disgusting amount of splash damage, and it launches these secondary projectiles that if you position correctly, such as Tront's legs or underneath Wotan, kind of the bottom of Wotan, all the other projectiles will hit and altogether, you could basically one-shot any enemy, any boss in the game with this thing. On console right now, it's bugged. On PC, you can save file farm for this from Pain and Terror. That's how I got mine, and from viewers. But we will be giving away some of these in the Discord, so if you're on console and are having trouble getting one of these, we're giving them away in the Discord, so make sure to join the link to Discord in the description. Now for the rest of the build, Blastmaster, the Pearl of Knowledge is and Last Stand Auto Idol are the two best in slot. You don't really need Auto Idol because we're going to be healing a bunch, but area of effect damage, magazine size, grenade damage are the best things that we could have here. I swap between the Pearl and the Last Stand Auto depending on the situation that I'm in and the weapon I'm using, and if I have the chance to stack the Pearl or not. The grenade is the cloning manual tracker. Now, in all these clips, I'm using level 53 one. As long as you can get a cloning manual tracker, you're fine. It doesn't really matter the level of it. And then for shields, we're using the Old God. Now, the best thing you could get is probably an Old God with fire damage, because we're always going to have fire damage because of our skills. And then an ASE element of your choosing. Right now, I swap between like corrosive, fire, and shock are my ones that I've got. And that's pretty much it for the gear. Now, let's talk about this skill tree, because there's a lot of things happening here. So, decision-making wise, fire in the Skag Den, bonus incendiary, means of destruction is going to give us our grenades back and give us ammo. This is super important, need 3 out of 3. Torque cross promotion was changed. Now, this is a flat increase to our splash damage and increases our splash damage radius. Now, torque cross promotion, you can kill yourself with weapons such as the OPQ. The OPQ works great on this build, but with its splash radius, it's kind of easy to kill yourself with. The Kyozin can't do self-splash damage, which is part of the reason why it's so nice, and our survivability is actually up a lot, because the Sandhawk, or not the Sandhawk, the Kisworth you could kill yourself with, the OPQ you could kill yourself with, and the Kyozin is our new best like mobbing weapon, because one, you can't kill yourself, and it outputs a crazy amount of damage. We're going Stainless Steel Barrier, because Stainless Steel Barrier increases the amount of damage that Short Fuse does, so we're using Short Fuse, and we got these high fire rate Kyozins to do a lot of secondary splash damage. So Stainless Steel Bear is great for that. Auto Bear, nice, gonna proc things like Vampire while our Auto Bear is out. We've got Pull the Holy Pin. Now this is where you can move some points around. There's 2 points where you guys can change the points. Pull the Holy Pin right now. Grenades don't scale, so crit damage on grenades really isn't doing anything for me here. However, it is nice if I ever want to swap to a Minesweeper to get a Minesweeper kill, such as like we got in the beginning. Now I have 3 out of 3 into Pull the Holy Pin, so I can use Minesweeper, and that's the only reason I have points there. If you don't plan on using a Minesweeper, you don't need to put those points, and the only clip in this entire video that was using Minesweeper, unless otherwise pointed out, was that Graveward one-shot with the Ion Cannon. So if you are going to not put points in Pull the Holy Pin, I would put them into Explosive Punctuations with 1 point into Grizzled, and Short Fuse, Secondary Explosions. This is awesome on weapons like the Kyozin, which you're going to get those secondary explosions. You're going to be getting Short Fuse. You're double dipping in Short Fuse and can get a lot of explosive damage out of that, and we're boosting so much of our splash damage and our explosive damage, which is awesome. 1 point in Grizzled. Grizzled suffers from diminishing returns, so we're putting 1 point in there because even at 5 points we would get down to the same diminishing returns within like 5 kills. So 1 point there is just fine. Now for the green tree, there was some buffs to the green tree. Now, I was originally going match set. We're no longer going match set. Even though it's a higher mag size bonus, it's just nice to not have to run 4 of the same weapons, like 4 Kyozins, just to be able to use them. So, we're losing, I believe it's 1 shot on my Kyozin. I was at 47 with match set, and I'm at 46 with Iron Bank. So, I went Iron Bank, and now we can hold different weapons. Going redistribution, this is ammo regen and health regen, which is super nice. Stoke the Embers, incendiary damage, Cloud of Lead, bonus incendiary damage, and not consuming ammos. Now Scrappy is awesome here. We're always going to be moving, and while we're moving, we're going to get weapon damage handling, weapon swap speed, and mode swap speed. We're going Scorching RPMs for that fire rate and critical hit damage. Now, I didn't put any points into Rushing Offensive. Some people love Rushing Offensive, and when you sprint, you're basically going to lifesteal. If you're using a Kyojin, if you shoot something and then sprint, even just a little bit, those things will basically full heal you. So if you want to use Rushing Offensive, you totally can. Most of the playstyle of this build, I'm basically doing this, where I'm not really sprinting, and therefore I didn't think I needed Rushing Offensive. We don't need Rushing Offensive, but if you guys want to go it, you totally can. It is a nice addition, but I went to have 5 points in Scorching RPMs and 5 points in the Iron Bank, and our survivability is just fine. Next up, we're going Click Click. Now, we're in kind of the Goldilocks zone with the weapons that we're using. Right now, this consecutive hits 25 single fire Kyojin gets down pretty low, but it doesn't really deplete that much. So most of the time I'm using this, I'm actually in this Goldilocks zone where I'm at the low end of my ammo, but I'm regenning ammo. And I can stay at Click Click with this gun damage. Now, finding this balance is going to be kind of up to you guys if you need to put more points in match set to go more mag size. But when you can get into this Goldilocks zone with things like the Kyojin and easily on rocket launchers, you can basically just shoot your rocket launcher a few times. Now, for my boss kills, when I jump out of Iron Bear and I shoot, boom, that shot's basically going to have 60% increased gun damage, which is just so easy. It's so good. And then some for the road so we can spam rocket launcher shots and Forge to regen. All in all, this build is a monster. You can use your rocket launchers for bossing, your Kyojins for mobbing, and basically do everything. The survivability of this build is really high because of Vampire. Now, I have 2 points into Vampire here. To get me to 3, you're going to want at least 3. 3, I found, is also kind of like the Goldilocks zone here, where 5 is kind of redundant, but anywhere lower than 3 is getting a little dicey. So make sure you're at least 3. You might have to put an extra point here, B, if your class mod is not into it. So 3 into Vampire. And yeah, that's it for the build, guys. The modifiers that I run, for the most part, vary. At the moment, I've got more than okay Boomer, which is grenade damage, which is fine if you want to throw on a Minesweeper. You can also go Galaxy Brain, Chilling Them Softly, Cryo, and Laser Flare. I'm not really ever using Cryo damage. And then for very hard modifiers, Not in the Face is fine. We're just going to be melting anything anyways. And Buddy System is fine. I wouldn't recommend Roguelite just because there is some times where you are going to go down to your own splash damage if you're not being careful. And yeah, Not in the Face and Buddy System. Lastly, one thing that I wanted to say is there's a modifier. I forget what it's called, but it's got cryo orbs that spin and follow you. This build cannot use that modifier at all. If you are dying on this build, make sure you don't have that modifier on. The cryo orbs will chase you, and your cloning matting trackers will chase those cryo orbs. And what happens is you just have cloning matting trackers hitting you over and over and over again, your own grenades, because they're chasing after these cryo orbs. So don't use that modifier because you will die. Other than that, guys, that's it for the video. Make sure you can use Plague Burners, Plague Bearer back burners for bossing. You'll melt everything. Kyojins for mobbing. And yeah, it's freaking sick. I love this build. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!